All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. What's going on? How y'all doing? Thanks for showing up on a Friday. To hang out and talk about, this and that, things that are happening. Let's see. Well, there's a lot to get into, as usual. I forgot to thank Denver hit me with a Venmo the other day. I know I thanked him on the Venmo, but just wanted to shout him out on the show. Thanks, Denver. There seems to be a growing attempt at silencing critics of your corporate overlords, which all seem to be in league with your Zionist overlords. Whoever those people are, they're not Jews and they're not Christians. They're something else. I don't know what. Call them the evil ones, because that's what they are. They're evil. It's hilarious to me that they're trying to get that, I see posts with people saying, oh, the Hamas-backed protesters in New York City or something, anti-Semitic, but look, man. Hamas, everything, Hamas, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, all a creation of these folks to have a enemy foil to blame or to direct your energy to basically redirect your attention from what they are doing. It's the most obvious case of projection. Every accusation is an admission. Masons, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Whoever it is, whatever the entities. They seem to be hell bent on obviously being, just straight out in the open, evil, corrupt, illegal, treasonous. Whatever it might be. Morons, maybe morons too. Anyways, if you weren't clear on that, I think most of y'all are clear on that. Here, the question is whether we're just going to sit around and go like, golly, that sure is bad. Wonder what we should do. Whoa, social media account dedicated to raising awareness of American health insurance companies. Sorry, you can't see this yet. There's a social media account, I think it's TikTok, raising awareness of American health insurance companies denying patients is being threatened by major insurance companies. They do not want everyone to see this. Cigna sent us a cease and desist letter. I mean, I don't know, smells like fascism. Sounds like fascism. Cease and desist. Threatening legal action. I think, Ryan Christian has multiple lawsuits because they're targeting him with lawfare to get him to shut up, to stop saying the things. We're all just supposed to sit around and go like, I wonder what's going on. I think morons is correct. What they don't understand is this all has blowback. You're not going to keep doing this stuff. You're not going to keep doing this stuff without getting everybody going, nope. No, good night. We're not doing this. I have emails from Aetna saying, get off TikTok. Just like the Amish building tiny homes, I guess you just keep on going. Let's go like, really? Oh, that's interesting. The video contains the denials being posted, and the actual letters are being sent from U.S. healthcare companies trying to silence people speaking up about their denials. Scam. Health insurance companies in the U.S. deny 850 million claims each year. That is a lot of claims. The biggest barriers for me are straight up the insurance companies and their pharmacy benefit managers. These are interlopers that are standing in between the physicians and the patients. They have no business making clinical decisions. It's not uncommon for me to spend 100 hours trying to get a case overturned. The health insurance in the United States of America is the biggest scam in the history of the United States of America. That's got to change. It's got to change. Americans are actually being threatened for talking about this, and the proof is in the video. All right. So this is probably too long to watch in one sitting, but
you want to talk to her? I'll get her on this phone call. I mean,
but we're speaking with you, that you don't tell them to call the physician's office. We have nothing to do with this. You guys are like, you're doing the wrong thing. My name is Julie. I'm the practice manager and the bathroom monitor. And my title,
we're getting, I would say, close to 50 denials a week.
Yep. My last initial is B as in broomstick. And if you think Claudia had a bad attitude, you're going to love me.
We do what we can do. And then I pivot to public shaming on social media. We have 17,100 followers on TikTok. I have emails from Aetna saying, get off TikTok. Cigna sent us a cease and desist letter. How can this little tiny practice in Bridgeton, Missouri get underneath the skin of multi-billion-dollar international company Cigna? We must be doing something right.
My body is in constant pain. Everything swells. I can barely sometimes walk. My ankles hurt so bad.
I don't really think anybody that doesn't have it gets it. The popping and cracking of the bones every time you do something, the exhaustion, the brain fog.
Okay. I'm going to stop the video right there just because in the interest of time, we're going to keep on going. You've got snow, Bella. Are you guys starting to get the polar vortex? I see. Thanks for the tip on Rockfin, Rich Diana. I appreciate you. 50 smackers. Thanks so much, Rich. The polar vortex closes down on the mitten. Brutal wind chills predicted for a month or more, and I used to cross-country ski all through the colder winters. Now I hide in my screens. Oh, sorry to hear that, Denver. All right, good luck out there on the road. Be safe. Be safe. Yeah, we'll look. It was predicted to start today, the polar vortex. So we'll look at that a little bit and try and monitor the situation. Anyway, so this is alarming. It's kind of, you're going to see it everywhere. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I am trying to brainstorm ways. We need alternative social media. X is, everything is not everything, but so many things on the internet are just CIA propaganda operations, right? We were talking about the bots, the bots that used to show up in the chats, and I'd have to run them away. But that kind of stuff is happening everywhere, and the biggest bot is Elon Musk. And it's hard. Everybody is on X or Twitter or whatever. Everybody's there. It seems to be the aggregate, and I have no interest in going to Blue Sky or to Threads. These are just more CIA run like institutions. They're just for the left or the right or whatever it is. All of it is infiltrated and controlled, right? So these are not safe havens for people. I would like to be able to find places where we could gather and get information and talk amongst ourselves that are less censored and less constantly being scraped for our data by AI and less controlled. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Telegram is okay, but still they can see everything you're doing and not necessarily private. Anybody has any ideas? Let me know. I would kind of like to get off of a lot of, especially X, get off a lot of this stuff altogether, but it's very, very difficult. It's very difficult. TikTok is controlled. They're all controlled. Let's brainstorm. Let's work. Let's pool our resources and our mental powers, and trying to find other venues. For the moment, there is a chat room on Telegram. I know it's not perfect, but it is a good place for us to congregate and to talk about things amongst ourselves. If you would like to go to the Telegram chat, it's the Black Bear News chat, t.me/Black Bear News chat. That's a good place to congregate. I don't know if I could figure out how I might start live streaming there. Who knows? So we can get like non-YouTube censored, infiltrated type stuff going on. Who knows? The problem is I have limited time with which to research all of these things and look for all of these things. So I'm barely getting it together for these shows, but we're going to go through some information today, some news today, and try and get through it. Okay. Let's look real quick at the polar vortex. We know what's happening. We know that I saw a really interesting video from Sabine today, who was talking about the cloud, kind of reassessing the clouds, losing clouds contributing to more heating, and it's kind of a feedback loop because the global warming itself is what's taking the clouds out. What is Futo Greyjay app? I don't know what that is. What is it? What is it, Bella? Is it something we can use? Is it decent? I don't know. I want things that are uncensored. This is from Newsweek as of 2 hours ago. Polar vortex live updates. Polar vortex. Dangerous snow squall has been issued for central Iowa. National Weather Service alerting residents that travel will become hazardous in a matter of minutes. Squalls are also affecting Ontario, Canada. Polar vortex is settling over the mid-Atlantic in the coming weeks, is fueling the potential for snow squalls. So, just looking at this for a moment. Central Iowa and parts of Ontario are under snow squall warnings. Rapid onset of snow squalls. Okay. Destructive ice storm is forecast for states including Nebraska, Kentucky, and West Virginia, with over a quarter-inch of ice accumulation likely to cause treacherous roads and power outages. Arctic air surges south. Temperatures could dip below 0 Fahrenheit in the northern plains and upper Midwest, with freezing conditions extending as far south as the Gulf Coast. The frigid weather is expected to persist through next week. With 234 million people in at least 40 states seeing freezing temperatures. All right. So that's the update on that. Yeah, no, I see a lot of people going to Blue Sky Rich, but it's it's an app developed by Jack Dorsey. It was developed at Twitter when Jack Dorsey was at Twitter. It's not it's just another controlled op app. So they censor, right? They actively censor people. If people don't like your content, they will call for censorship. It's just not, I don't want to be in a place like that. So I don't know. Anyways, what was I saying? I was talking about the Sabine video. The Gray J. I'm looking at the Gray J app. Gray J enables you to create and watch video content in your own terms, fully retaining ownership and having control over what you watch your content on your own terms. Okay, that looks interesting. Create an environment where you watch only things you like. Okay, I'll check it out. I will check it out. Isn't that what a Gray Jay is? A carrier pigeon? These are jokes. Anyways, the upshot of the video, the Sabine video, is that it's, most likely scientists don't know what's going on. It's going to get warmer. We're on a worst path scenario of warming. And it doesn't look like anything is going to knock us off that path anytime soon. So just expect more extreme weather, weird weather, and in general warming, because that's what's happening to the planet. I don't know. Let's keep going. Speaking of censorship, infiltration, surveillance, Apple to pay $95 million to settle Siri privacy lawsuit. So they're not admitting any fault, that they have been recording and listening and recording people's conversations through Siri. They don't need Siri to do that, by the way. They can just do that anyways through your microphone. They can totally. Most of the apps that you use, Facebook and so many others, they all record you and use it for serving you ads. Anyways, mobile device owners complained that Apple routinely recorded their private conversations after they activated Siri unintentionally and disclosed these conversations to third parties such as advertisers or intelligence community, right? Third parties. Voice assistants typically react when people use hot words such as "Hey Siri." Two plaintiffs said their mentions of Air Jordan sneakers and Olive Garden restaurants triggered ads for those products. Anyways, we've all experienced this, and we all know this is going on. And because of the class action lawsuit, you'll receive about $20. So thanks. A similar lawsuit on behalf of users of Google's voice assistant is pending in San Jose. Plaintiffs are represented by the same law firms as in the Apple case. Let's see. But surveillance is everywhere. Ops are everywhere. This is good post from Jimmy Dore in regards to, truck type, things hidden in trucks that do things and make buildings go boom. This is good to keep in mind while experiencing seemingly unrelated truck terrorist attacks in New Orleans and Las Vegas. This might blow your mind. If you didn't know, the whole Oklahoma City bombing thing was not what they told you it
On the morning of April 19, 1995, a decorated Gulf War combat vet blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City using a truck bomb that he didn't build in a Ryder truck that he didn't rent with the help of a passenger who didn't exist. Having just gotten away with the largest act of terrorism on U.S. soil to date, the Fort Bragg-trained Special Forces Sheep Drip Dropout blended in with the crowd by making his getaway in a car without a license plate and was immediately pulled over. The ATF was the supposed target of the attack, but luckily all of their agents were out of the office that morning. Later that day, the president boldly declared,
"We will find the people who did this.
And
when we do, justice will be swift, certain, and severe."
Except for
John Doe number 2.
John Doe number 2.
John Doe number 2.
Who, according to the FBI, never existed. In McVeigh's unprecedented 3.5-week trial, the prosecution didn't show the CCTV footage of him and John Doe number 2 parking the Ryder truck. Didn't explain why 24 separate witnesses mass hallucinated the existence of John Doe number 2. Didn't explain why the government was testing truck bombs and the Army was storing Ryder trucks at Camp Gruber right before the bombing, and didn't talk to the FBI informants who blew the whistle on the plot. But they did collaborate with the CIA, and they did convict McVeigh as the lone wolf bomber and Terry Nichols as his bomb-constructing accomplice. Still, a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists, including 300 bombing victims, insist on talking about facts and evidence and refuse to simply believe what they've been told a million times by people in tailored suits with well-coiffed hair. They quote the U.S. Army Brigadier General and the FBI crime lab whistleblower and the inventor of the neutron bomb who point out the physical impossibility that the Ryder truck bomb did the damage to the building, but that doesn't matter because if there were other bombs in the building that day, we would have heard about them.
The second explosive was found and defused. I think he said another bomb.
The Justice Department is reporting that a second explosive device has been found.
They then found a third device, which was also larger than the first.
And I see another bomb truck going, so apparently they're going to try to get out that third bomb.
The FBI claims to have lost the footage showing McVeigh and John Doe number 2 parking the truck in front of the Murrah building that morning, but that's understandable because the Bureau has a lot of important evidence to store. Terry Nichols insists the FBI was involved in the plot, but thankfully a judge has saved us the trouble of listening to him by preventing lawyers from deposing him. There was a bomb squad truck parked across the street 2 hours before the blast, but that just shows the authorities were prepared for anything. And
other documents obtained by 2020 show that someone called the Executive Secretariat's office at the Justice Department in Washington and said the Murrah building had been bombed. But this was 24 minutes before the blast.
But that just shows the public was unusually vigilant that morning.
before.
Also,
apparently, before the bombing, Governor Frank Keating's brother, Mark, had been working on a novel about a terrorist bombing in Oklahoma City. Stranger still, one of the characters in the novel was named Thomas McVeigh.
But that's probably just a coincidence. McVeigh wrote a letter to his sister where he admitted to being a secret Special Forces operative, and he complained to friends of the pain in his ass from an Army-implanted microchip, but that's crazy because if he didn't actually leave the Army in 1991, there would be proof of that. This man never existed, and if you say otherwise, you're a crazy government-hating nutjob who deserves to be locked in a cage for the rest of your life. Likewise, him, her, them, her, and him. And him and him. McVeigh was not executed on May 16, 2001 as scheduled because
the FBI had failed to turn over thousands of pages of evidence to McVeigh's defense attorneys.
But the execution went ahead on June 11th. In a highly unusual and secret agreement, no autopsy was performed. One witness said he was still breathing, and the prison officials admitted his hearse was a decoy. Then, the case was officially closed. This is the story of OKC as told to you by the same truth-tellers behind
perhaps a profoundly lonely man who craved attention but found consolation in doing good.
And
the helicopter we were traveling in was forced down after being hit by an RPG.
And
we're with the rebels. And he said, "Oh, you're with the rebels?" And they started beating him. "Oh, you're with the rebels? Don't you support Bashar?"
And if you question any part of this story, you are a paranoid wingnut birther, truther, tenther, prepper conspiracy loon who should feel guilty for having been born. If you love baseball, fluffy kittens, hot dogs, Barbie, Star Wars, and freedom, you will never ever bring up any of these points ever again. Ever. This message has been brought to you by the Friends of the FBI, ATF, DOJ, CIA, SPLC, MSM, and the U.S. Army. And remember, ignorance is strength.
Only only in a picture did he refer to Terrence Yeaky, sorry, who basically said the whole, uncovered a lot of problems with the story and was roundly ridiculed for trying to tell people the truth about it. And he died in 1996. So he was a sergeant in the Oklahoma City Police Department. He was one of the first responders at the site of the Oklahoma City bombing, rescuing at least 4 people. He died a year later by what was ruled a suicide by gunshot. Huh. It's crazy how those things happen. His manner of death remains disputed. Anyways, he had big questions and actually evidence that things were not what they appeared to be with the story, and I guess people didn't like that. And then he died. That's weird. Weird when that happens. Or maybe that happens a lot. I don't know. Let's keep going. Here is an interesting video of a woman who is a vaccinologist who was called to debate some studies. This is Aaron Siri talking to Russell Brand, but the video is kind of, well, I'll just let the video speak for itself. Russell Brand is left stunned by Aaron Siri's brutal takedown of world-leading vaccinologist Dr. Catherine Edwards, who was to testify that the issue of whether vaccines caused autism has been thoroughly researched and rejected, yet no studies to support such a claim. She had no studies to support such a claim in the deposition. And this is revealing.
Edwards was one of the 4 listened authors. She is one of the world's leading vaccinologists in the world. Coming into a deposition with me, knowing about the claim vaccines cause autism. That was the central issue in the case. And so she knows I'm going to ask her about it. So presumably she comes prepared. She's coming prepared for my questions about vaccines and autism and all the vaccines, because all the vaccines were at issue. All the vaccines given in the first 6 months of life were at issue in that case too. So let's see what Dr. Edwards has to say with regards to the state of the science with vaccines and autism, literally out of the mouth from the world's leading vaccinologists. According to your profile, you have done most of the pivotal trials relied upon to license many of the vaccines, correct, on the market?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're highly experienced at conducting clinical trials, correct?
I'm highly experienced conducting clinical trials.
And you're familiar with many of the clinical trials that relied upon to license many of the vaccines currently on the market, correct?
I am.
In your opinion, did the clinical trials relied upon to license the vaccines that Yates received, many of which are still on the market today, were they designed to rule out that the vaccine causes autism?
No. You've badgered me into answering the question the way you want me to, but I think that that's probably the answer.
Is that your accurate and truthful testimony?
Yes.
In the expert disclosures for this case, it asserts that, among other things, you will testify that, quote, The issue of whether vaccines cause autism has been thoroughly researched and rejected, end quote. It's your testimony that MMR vaccine cannot cause autism.
That's correct.
It's your testimony that Hep B vaccine cannot cause autism.
That's correct.
It's your testimony that iPol cannot cause autism.
Yes.
It's your testimony that HIV vaccine cannot cause autism.
Yes.
It's your testimony that varicella vaccine cannot cause autism.
Yes.
It's your testimony that Prevnar vaccine cannot cause autism.
Yes.
And it's your testimony that DTaP vaccine cannot cause autism.
Yes.
And you have a study that supports that DTaP doesn't cause autism?
I do not have a study that DTaP caused autism. So I don't have either.
Do you have any study one way or another of whether iPol causes autism?
No, I do not, sir.
Do you have any study one way or another of whether NDREC B causes autism?
I do not have any evidence that it causes autism, nor that it does not.
And what about Hib titers vaccine? Any evidence one way or another of whether it causes autism?
No.
And what about Prevnar vaccine? Any evidence one way or another?
No, sir. No, sir.
And how about varicella vaccine? Let me just finish. Are there any studies one way or another that support whether it does or doesn't cause autism?
Part of MMR, but not as varicella by itself. No, sir. No studies that say it does, or no studies that say it doesn't.
Right. There have been studies that have found an association between hepatitis B vaccine and autism, correct?
Not studies that I feel are credible.
Okay. Which study are you referring to when you say that?
Well, why don't you show me the study and then I'll see whether I agree with it.
That's amazing. They're going to have conversations like that with you. They're in a lot of trouble, I would imagine, on the basis of what's happened in the last few years.
Just asking for questions.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Anyways. Don't forget, vaccines are safe and effective. Always take your vaccines. Take them with you wherever you go. Put them in your glove box. You might need an extra one. All right. Speaking of which, well, it's all speaking of which. Witches and warlocks. Oh, look at that. I see, Bella. I see where you're going with that. Quite mercurial. People didn't want Klaus Schwab to take over the world and push his dystopian agenda, yet somehow Elon pushing for the same agenda makes it okay now. Many have eyes, but few see. Yeah. Collect them all, yes. Yes. As you see by some of his tweets, synthetic mRNA is basically digital medicine with incredible potential. Sounds like he doesn't realize Tesla makes the vaccine machine for CureVac. At some point, having a Neuralink will be normal. What? The only action needed to solve climate change is a carbon tax. What? Somebody said Elon Musk is Klaus Schwab's personal jockstrap. That's good. Elon Musk is the bot that shows up in your chat. Like, he's literally the dude. He's just yeah, anyways. But every once in a while he's like, free speech. Oh no, that's terrible. Whatever they're doing over there, that's with the bad things and the WEF. It's so bad. But he's literally like, he's the ultimate. He's like the biggest CIA bot ever. He's the biggest psyop ever. And it's becoming kind of obvious, right? He had a big meltdown where he was using an alias, and he kicked a whole bunch of people, or, took away a bunch of blue checks on Twitter, and he's, changing the algorithm, and he's showing his face, his real face, more and more. I mean, he's getting in fights with MAGA. He's going, the whole thing about the H1B. Is it the H1B? I think it's H1B program. Don't know if I'm saying that wrong. Kind of contradicting the entire, Trump message or MAGA message on immigration. And everybody took him to task for that, and then he lost it. But we all know that the conversation about immigration is not a real one anyways. No matter what the Republicans say about, or the Democrats say about it. The Democrats in the past have said, "Oh, we've got to stop this immigration. This is a real problem." Both the Clintons, Obama at one point, he was the deporter in chief. No matter what the Democrats or the Republicans say to you about immigration, they don't care. They actually like undermining workers and unions. They like the instability of it. They like, that they haven't had to raise the minimum wage in, I don't know, almost 20 years. And somebody asked whether their minimum wage might ever be raised again. I mean, why would that? Why would it? It would be amazing to me. It's not going to happen under Trump. Didn't happen under Biden. Oh, Biden just cares about people so much, but didn't raise the minimum wage. That's interesting. That has been raised since 2007. Interesting. Last time it was raised was under President Bush, or W. That Bush. So Obama didn't do it. Biden didn't do it. Trump ain't going to do it. Will it ever be raised again? Because the next, president is going to be, the next Democrat is going to be, I don't know, Gavin Newsom or some other such blob. Yeah. The fact he calls it grok is, whatever. Some old Silicon Valley, like, nod to hippie shit, which is dumb. Here's Trump saying the CIA. This is funny. What we need now is the CIA to get involved in this, looking at what's going on with these bombings and stuff. Oh, Jesus. Again. All these folks are in the employ of the same people, whoever those people are, we don't know. Our country is a disaster, a laughing stock all over the world, says Donald Trump. Are you amazed at all the things that have happened and he hasn't even taken office yet? I mean, just since the election and now, we've been hit, over and over by all kinds of, wild stuff. He's not even president yet. This is what happens when you have open borders with weak, ineffective, and virtually non-existent leadership. Whatever. The DOJ, FBI, and Democrat, state, and local prosecutors have not done their job. They are incompetent and corrupt, having spent all their waking hours unlawfully attacking the political opponent, me, rather than focusing on protecting Americans from the outside and inside violent scum that has infiltrated all aspects of our government and our nation itself. Oh my God, Democrats should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen to our country. The CIA must get involved now before it is too late. The USA is breaking down. A violent erosion of safety, national security. The CIA must get involved now before it's too late. Okay, I think they're pretty involved, bro. I'd say the CIA is plenty involved. The USA is breaking down. A violent erosion of safety, national security, and democracy is taking place all across our nation. Only strength and powerful leadership will stop it. See you on January 20th. Make America great again. Okay, whatever. The deep state is ruining us. Oh, help us, CIA. You're our only hope. Anyways, to this, Whitney Webb says the CIA must get involved now before it's too late. A call to have the CIA involved in domestic policing from the guy who is supposedly being constantly targeted by the CIA. All because of an alleged terror threat based on groups created and arguably still managed by the CIA, Al Qaeda, and ISIS. Checks out. 2025 is shaping up to be the year of Make Palantir, a CIA front company, great again. Yeesh. I don't know where all this stops. It certainly doesn't stop with Trump. It only gets worse. It just gets worse. Sabby Sabs. Now there's an attempt to attack an AIPAC office. So there was they thwarted it though. They stopped it from happening. New Orleans attack, Tesla explosion at Trump Tower, and now an attempted attack of an AIPAC office. Put all these stories together, folks, and then ask yourself, who benefits from this? A man is arrested for attempting to shoot up an AIPAC office in South Florida.
Developing right now, a man has been arrested accused of planning an attack right here in South Florida.
He was reportedly targeting a pro-Israel group with offices in our area. Local 10's Leanne Morejon is live in Plantation with those details. Leanne.
Yeah, the FBI says that it foiled a plot by this person to hurt people at a local office.
Oh, they foiled the plot, the FBI? Oh, man, they're on the case. That's cool.
Who we're talking about. This
Man,
is
the FBI, they
Forrest
are on it.
Kendall Pemberton. He was arrested after
That guy
allegedly
looks like a total
driving
MAGA
down
dick.
to our area from Alachua County,
Yeah, that's good. They
searching
got
for
him.
that AIPAC office, and he had several firearms with him. This is one of the locations he was scouting, a former AIPAC office location off of Pine Island Road in Plantation. Now, this is an old address for the organization's local offices, but he thought that this was it and came to this area, even rented a hotel nearby. Documents also show he was looking at a local IRS office, which is also not far from here. Now, these are some of the court documents that were filed on Monday. This man allegedly left a note with his family saying goodbye and then came here to scout things out before coming back with weapons. Law enforcement found him on December 25th in a rideshare vehicle. He was carrying what investigators called a soft rifle case with him.
So
and
he
December
took
25th
an
is
Uber
notable
with
because
a-
that also
with a
coincided with the
rifle?
first night
Okay.
of Hanukkah. Investigators asked him if he was
Yeah, that
planning a,
checks out.
quote, mass casualty event and then to take his own life. Here's what he told them according to those documents. Quote, I really don't know if I was going to end it with my life or not. I hadn't gotten that far yet. It entirely depended if I ended up getting caught or not. If caught, that was a way out. Later in those documents, it explains why investigators believe that Pemberton chose that AIPAC location because of, quote, its political influence and its relative location. Pemberton stated his motivation for taking this action was frustration with the, quote, status quo and, quote, seeing if I could make a change. Pemberton faces FBI charges. The FBI says that he was arrested on federal stalking charges, and he does have a hearing in Alachua County in front of a federal.
All right. Well, they got him. That's good. And we're going to have to get some stricter laws. My God. Got to keep everyone safe, guys. Safe. Let's see. That's interesting, isn't it? What other weirdness are they going to try and throw at people? I don't know. CIA agent explained. This is great. This is a great video. Also terrifying. This is a great video, super terrifying. And this guy is basically telling, like, this guy is proving my point when I said those people were in the chats trying to instigate stuff. He's telling you we're all over the place trying to instigate stuff. This is what we do. This is like, this is from March 22nd, 2024. A CIA agent explains how the government baits and tricks mentally unwell social media users. You don't even have to really be mentally unwell. You just have to be maybe a little bit angry into committing crimes they wouldn't normally commit. All right. This Gavin. Never trust anybody named Gavin, okay? Sorry. If your name's Gavin, I apologize. I just don't. I've never met a Gavin I liked. Anyways, maybe I will. Maybe one day I'll meet a Gavin. I'll be like, dude, you are cool. This guy is a dick. Let's see.
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do. How? You set them up. You create the situation to where they have no choice but to act on their impulse. And once they act on that impulse, then we call that entrapment. We call it a nudge.
A nudge.
A nudge. Sometimes you just got to give them a quick little, just to see what happens, right?
And how does that happen?
You put a post out there, or you have someone fake profile say something that triggers, that we know is going to trigger them, right? Like we already know your history.
We already know your history.
Like, oh,
we already know everything about you. Oh, this will piss them off. My God, this guy, the revelation of what's going on here is pretty amazing. He looks delighted, doesn't he? He looks so happy with himself and what they're doing. First of all, they know your history. They know everything about you. And they have fake profiles saying stuff that will trigger you, right? So, like, you know, I mean, I've fallen for this kind of stuff all, you know, in the past. There's just, I'm convinced that Kyle Kalinske is just working straight up for the CIA right now. Kyle Kalinske is just a trigger inducer on Twitter, right? He just says, like, why, just the most insane shit libby shit that just is going to piss everybody off, right? Like, that's on Twitter, right? Anybody on the right, like, and that's his whole reason for being right now, is just to go like full, you know, full scale shit lib and just post shit that's just going to piss people off and get a reaction out of him. Like, that's all he's doing. He's not even being a journalist. He's not even like making any commentary that's like, oh, this is, you know, a thought out, you know, this is a thought out reaction to what's happening in the world right now. No, he's just posting like memes. He's just posting like shit lib memes that are going to piss off the right, and he's just getting a reaction out of people. Like, he's obviously getting a paycheck. He must be getting paid handsomely for this shit that he's doing. I'm not having the Gavin. Hell no. Anyways, let's see.
And just wait for it to follow. Nothing like putting on a fake social media thing to like really get people mad. Mm-hmm. Post fake news. Sometimes it's not fake. It's embellished a little bit. You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do. How?
Wow. You can put anyone in jail if you know what to do. Oh, I'm sure we do, Rich. Yes, I'm sure. Anyways, I barely have energy to even post anything, let alone react to somebody's stupidity. Once in a while, I like to at least say that was dumb or this didn't make any sense, and then be on my merry way. But like, do I have time for an argument? Hell no. Do I have time to say something to somebody who's clearly just trying to be provocative? It's whatever. But that was an interesting video, don't you think? No offense to any Gavins out there, real or imagined. I'm sure Gavins are mostly cool. This guy's a dick, though, by the way. He's pretty much an asshole. Let's see. Oh, the PSYOP continues with the The supposed attacker in New Orleans. Here is a reporter who is walking through the home of said attacker with no gloves and just walking around and just, here we are in this guy's home because this is a crime scene. This is from Diligent Dennison. Reporter gains access to New Orleans terrorist home one day after the attack. The New York Post released an exclusive report featuring a tour of Shamsuddin Jabbar's home in New Orleans, highlighting the discovery of a bomb-making station and a Quran open to a passage about martyrdom. The report raises several concerns. Why was this reporter given access to a crime scene one day after the event? Why are they pushing a narrative? Yeah.
We are here inside the New Orleans terrorist home. You can see that it's been clearly destroyed, the door at least, from the FBI raid yesterday. But if we walk through the home, we see some signs of what he was up to.
We're just here in this crime scene.
We have this work area here. Lots of different chemicals laid around.
Didn't his Airbnb burn down?
Electronics. This is again a work setup.
We're just pilfering a crime scene. It's totally fine.
It's very unkempt in here. If we go over here, actually, you can see the Department of Justice documents here, the search warrant, and the property that they recorded here, which seems to be a lot of chemicals. Again, just left in disarray. There's a bedroom back here.
Yeah, I totally
and
believe
his what appears to be his collection of religious materials, his Qurans, an open Quran with a passage there, as well as even the Bible here.
Evidence, bro.
But mostly books on Islam and his prayer rug.
He was super into
just
Islam.
To the
That's why he did
left
it.
of me here. And if we go back, there's another
He was
bedroom
super Muslim.
Here. You can see he left
You know,
all these belongings,
you know how
contact
these people
lenses,
do.
personal belongings, his bathroom. This seems to be some sort of workspace again with other chemicals here.
What?
The lights still on.
Maybe you should sniff them.
Some kind
See
of
if they're real.
station set up here. We're not really
Remember
sure
the lady
what
in
that was
Syria
for.
was like, "Oh, that smells like a."
What
She
we could
picked up a backpack and put it to her face. It smells like chemical weapons. This lady's like, "There's this workstation here with like chemicals. Looks like bomb stuff to me." Okay.
can assume was also a bedroom. You can see clothes left here.
Look,
just
look, the
a
scarf,
sign that
bro, the scarf.
someone was here up until those last few moments when neighbors said he left just before the New Year's holiday, saying he was done with his lease. It was up and he was on his way to New Orleans where he would live there. Didn't take any furniture because he said his new home would be furnished. That's all we know so far.
All right, great reporting. That was excellent. I really appreciated that. Okay. Well, that was weird. Chris Martinson says a reporter with no gloves or protective gear walking through the suspect's home along with a cameraman, no crime scene tape, no escort we can see, and the reporter isn't. I didn't see one cop there, inside or out, which is super, and the reporter is entirely clueless. This is 100% evidence that we're being played. This is how narrative shaping occurs. And here we are 6 months later with zero insights into Thomas Crooks, no tour of his home, no examination of his work habits or colleagues. We get nothing. Anyways. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that even more on the how the FBI is just trying to help, just help people stay safe and stuff. Parents catch FBI in a plot to force mentally ill son to be a right-wing terrorist. Okay. This is from Last American Vagabond. Just gonna I mean, the headline was pretty much what we wanted. The parents of a severely mentally disabled man are speaking out on how the FBI groomed him as a right-wing terrorist, knowing he's a paranoid schizophrenic. Wow. Yeah, so they're on the case, creating bad guys so they can look like they're saving you from the bad guys. Through the hundreds of quote-unquote foiled terror plots the FBI has busted over the years, many of them have been focused on people of Middle Eastern descent or people associated with ISIS or Al-Qaeda. This time, in the case of Jerry Drake Varnell, the 23-year-old diagnosed schizophrenic, accused of attempting to bomb a bank, the FBI fomented terror from a right-wing dialogue. Wow. In a June meeting with an agent, according to FBI documents, Varnell described himself as a believer in the 3%er ideology or right-wing group claiming to be committed to standing against and exposing corruption and injustice. According to federal documents, Varnell drove what he believed was a stolen van containing a 1,000-pound ammonium nitrate bomb on Saturday morning to blow up an Oklahoma City bank. Oklahoma City? What are the chances? Anyways, that's wild. Here's Whitney Webb talking about how there is a foreign influence trying to take over our infrastructure, and no, it's not China.
So an Israeli intelligence guy forms this company and says, we're going to take care of American hospitals, dams, water infrastructure.
Dams come later, but it was first health infrastructure. And they partnered with CISA, that's supposed to protect critical structure, including election infrastructure, but also things like water systems, the power grid, all sorts of things like that, as well as hospitals. And beyond that, it's not just hospitals anymore. As you mentioned, it's expanded to dams, it's expanded to water systems, and also nuclear reactors in the United States. So you have a foreign intelligence-founded nonprofit being offered access to all of these critical systems in the United States.
How is this being allowed? I mean, we know the deep connections between Israel and the United States. So this goes deeper than that. So an Israeli intelligence guy.
That'll be fine. I mean, they kind of control everything else already. Yeah. More on this. It's an ISIS flag, but he's not ISIS. He's Al Qaeda. This is this guy referring to Sarah Adams, talking about, I don't know. Somehow Al Qaeda operatives are going to be in the U.S. and they're going to spring some attack on us. I don't know. I don't know about this. Let's listen.
We have not had a man walk up to a building with a suicide vest on the United States. Americans don't understand this. Al-Qaeda knows this, right? So this is new and innovative, especially now. You don't have to walk upside of the building. You can walk in the building because of the advancement of the vest. The other thing is, in the United States, we haven't had Fideian attackers. So the concept is the terrorist fights to the death. So he's not exactly a suicide bomber, but he will fight till either all of us are dead or all of his people are dead. We think it's going to be a swarming attack, right? Multiple different attacks at one time across multiple cities. We think there will be suicide bombers just because some of the attackers went through suicide bomber training and they have these vests. And then we think there's these Fideian attackers who will carry on until they're killed.
You just rephrase that. So these guys are trained and they are going to fight until they're killed.
Yes. And that matters, right? So I was watching this video and it was a suicide bombing in Kabul years ago. The bomber blew up and then everyone starts moving in. The first responders move in, right? And then another guy walks in and blows up. We know this is a tactic. But if Americans don't understand this is a tactic and don't understand these attackers are going to fight to the death, think about that.
Okay. Well, this is what people are reacting to, or they're trying to get you to think like, oh, this is a whole plot in there, Yeah, exactly. Eye roll is right. Deeps. Eye roll is right. Oh, it's a whole plot, man. They're here. They're going to be doing things. Whitney Webb says if people can't figure out that Al-Qaeda works for the U.S. government to justify wars abroad and repression at home, even with the U.S. having overtly backed the AQ branch that just took control of Syria, they just told you out loud, like, yeah, we're Al-Qaeda. Hey, we're here to take over Syria. It probably never will. Amazing how successful the rebrand of neocon propaganda has been. She says, I guess this means a lot of false flags in the future to justify more wars for Israel in the Middle East. People who hate the foreign wars are more likely to surrender their critical thinking if they are scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. That's just another FF. Guys, if you like this show, if you appreciate the show, if you like watching the show, you like hanging out in the chats on this show, if you like the show coming to you Monday through Friday for free $99, and you would like to see the show continue and you want to support the show, there are lots of ways to do it. All the links are in the description box. All the usual suspects are there: Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Coffees, Ko-Fi, Zelle, etc. Many of you support the show already. You know who you are, and I appreciate you. Oh, speaking of, okay, I'm kind of running out of time here, guys, but I'm gonna have to save the rest for tomorrow. But in the conversation of the fog, right? People were talking about the fog. Oh my God, the fog, which I kind of think is like, I'm leaning towards psyopy on that, but we don't know. But this is a real story that actually happened, and it was a military experiment on the population, mass population experiment, and they distributed some bacteria through a fog, trying to see what would happen. Let's listen. So this has happened before, so it's not unprecedented. This happened like what? I don't know how many years ago. 60 years ago or more? 70 years ago? I'm sure the methods are refined greatly since then. Here we go.
He authorized Sidney Gottlieb to spray germs into the fog in San Francisco Harbor. The point was to try to infect 800,000 people in San Francisco with this germ just to see how many would get sick. And they thought that the germ would sit heavily in the fog and would linger in the air longer that way to infect more people. Now remember, nobody knew that this was happening. And I don't mean just nobody in San Francisco. I mean nobody. The CIA director didn't know it was happening. The president didn't know it was happening. This was Alan Dulles and Dr. Sidney Gottlieb. So what happened? They spray this poison into the air, and 11 people got identical urinary tract infections within the next 3 days. Now, we know that these were specific to the germ because these urinary tract infections included bleeding, but with blood that had crystals in it. Doctors were so taken aback by the fact that this wasn't just a urinary tract infection, but these people were discharging crystals from their bodies, that they actually got together in doctors' groups and talked about it. That what in the world is this? Is this some kind of a new disease? And then like magic, it just went away. And it went away because it was just a CIA experiment. In 1951, Allen Dulles becomes the director of the CIA, just like he planned to.
Okay. Just playing that for just, you know, because it was interesting. All right, y'all. That does it for me. Right. He's got a Quran and how do you say it? A kefaya? Yeah. He's totally a Muslim, bro. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. I will be back on Monday at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific. Appreciate y'all joining in, watching the show. And to those that contributed to the show, I appreciate you too. Okay. And I will see you all next time. Enjoy your weekend.